Hello, and welcome back to my ongoing coverage of the OceanGate Titan submersible tragedy. And I'm back with another look through the US Coast Guard's final report. As I said last time, rather than attempting to cover the whole thing and be here for forever and a day, I'm going to instead concentrate on key areas in separate videos to keep this coverage focused and not stray in 100 different directions at once. It also works well with my own coverage too, as, for example, there is a section in the report that covers the Coast Guard's response to the incident and their search and rescue efforts, though I won't be covering that until the last few testimonies have been covered on the channel, which include representatives from the Coast Guard. Anyway, in this video we're going to go over the report's breakdown of Titan's 2021 survey expedition, so without further ado, let's take a look. On June 24, 2021, the Horizon Arctic crew loaded the Titan, launch and recovery system, and all of Titan's support equipment aboard the vessel. OceanGate's dive counts for the Titan submersible was a cumulative total encompassing dives conducted with both the original and final hull. The first Titan hull was used for 49 dives before being scrapped. The dive counter for the final Titan hull, the one involved in the catastrophic incident, began at dive 50. Prior to the 2021 Titanic expedition, which aimed to reach a depth of 3,840 meters, the final Titan hull had only completed 11 operational dives, reaching a maximum depth of 170 meters. On June 30th, after arriving to the coordinates of the Titanic wreck site, the Titan conducted its first dive on the site, which was recorded as Dive 61. The dive had a total of 5 passengers aboard, Stockton Rush as the pilot, 2 other OceanGate personnel, a Titanic content expert, and a mission specialist who had paid $100,000 for the dive. The maximum depth achieved on the dive was 7 meters, and OceanGate's notes from the dive indicated that the Titan experienced a DVL failure. A DVL being a Doppler velocity logger, using echo sounding to determine velocity of an underwater vehicle, distance from seabed and other objects, and other environmental characteristics such as current speed and direction. After the aborted dive, the Titan and launch and recovery system were towed back to the stern of the Horizon Arctic for recovery operations. While the Titan and LARS were being pulled up the stern ramp and onto the stern of the Horizon Arctic, OceanGate experienced their first incident of the 2021 expedition when the forward 3,000-pound titanium dome sheared off the Titan and landed on the front of the LARS. According to Titan's maintenance log, the forward dome was subsequently inspected, reinstalled, and an incident report was completed. The Marine Board of Investigation was unable to obtain the incident report filed for the incident. However, OceanGate witnesses testified to the MBI that the dome and installed viewport did not appear to have sustained any damage from the fall. Following the incident, the OceanGate blog stated, "Necessary adjustments to our operation were notated and a collaborative action plan was developed and implemented. Challenges at sea are often unforeseen and require flexible, creative, and intelligent problem-solving skills." According to OceanGate's Director of Engineering at the time, as the Titan and platform were being pulled up the ramp, it transitioned hard as it reached the horizontal aft deck, and the bolts that held the dome on sheared from the weight of the dome. He stated that there were only 4 of the 18 stainless steel bolts being used to secure the forward dome post-dive. The Director of Engineering stated that prior to the incident, Mr. Rush had directed that only 4 bolts be used to secure the dome post-dive because he wanted to be able to get the crew in and out of the Titan quicker, and removing or securing 18 bolts took too long. After the incident, according to the Director of Engineering, OceanGate procedures changed, and the dive support crew installed all of the forward dome's 18 bolts for every evolution. a mission specialist who was aboard the Horizon Arctic at the time provided the following MBI hearing testimony. It got to a point where it was seesawing, you know, the flat plane of the deck and then there's the angled plane of the ramp, which is steep, probably a little too steep, but again, this was all experimental and we were feeling our way through it. So, it was teetering back and forth, and then the crane operator let it go a little too abruptly and it slammed down on the deck with quite a bit of force. Now, the complicating factor was a decision had been made to only install 4 of the bolts in the £3,500 titanium dome. That decision was made. I was there when that decision was made. I did not articulate any opinions one way or the other. The thought was that once the ship went, or the Titan went to depth, that the pressure would be so intense that you didn't need any bolts. You wouldn't be able to pry it off with a jack. They were trying to minimise the time it took to get the mission specialists out of the Titan after the mission ended. On July 3rd, the final Titan dive 62, to 1,700 metres, with 2 OceanGate crew, 1 content expert and 1 mission specialist who paid $150,000 for the excursion. Due to the dome incident on the previous dive, OceanGate initially planned the dive for OceanGate employees only as a safety check. However, the plan was changed after a mission specialist voiced a strong desire to join the dive, despite the risk. While on the dive at 1,700 metres, the starboard thrusters failed after a popping sound was heard. During the initial descent of the Titan submersible, the crew faced significant challenges due to improper weight distribution, causing the vessel to spiral slowly instead of descending in a controlled manner at a gradual angle. This drift, combined with ocean currents, left the crew operating a Titan at an unusual pitch and off course. Communications with the surface were sporadic, and the Titan's limited sonar range of only 100 yards made navigation difficult. The situation worsened when one of the thrusters failed. To regain control and ascend, the crew decided to jettison their weights. After one of the pipe weights became stuck, the crew of the Titan had to physically rock the Titan back and forth to help dislodge the drop weight. After approximately 20 minutes, the Titan began to ascend and make its way back up to the surface. Up until that point, the final Titan had only completed 12 dives, with an average depth of 43.9 metres. The mission specialist who successfully persuaded Mr. Rush to let him join Dive 62 testified to the MBI that he affirmed to Mr. Rush that he was comfortable with the risk, and he reminded Mr. Rush that OceanGate had guaranteed he would be able to participate in a Titanic dive. Additional issues encountered during Dive 62 included 2 drop weights jammed in the starboard channel, anomalous hits on acoustic sensors 1 and 3, later attributed by OceanGate to non-mechanical sources, intermittent DVL functionality, and an external hull high pressure valve being incorrectly positioned for the dive. On July 6, 2021, Mission 1 of the 2021 expedition was completed. Mission 1 included 2 dives, which resulted in 2 incident reports and 19 issues recorded in Titan's maintenance log. On July 7th, Mission 2 of the Titanic expedition commenced. On July 9th, the final Titan conducted Dive 63 with Mr. Rush, a co-pilot, and 1 content expert. The dive lasted 16 hours and reached a depth of 3,840 metres. This was the first time the final Titan hull had made it to the depth of the Titanic wreck site. However, during the dive, the Titan had difficulty with tracking its location and did not ultimately locate the Titanic wreck. To clarify Titan's navigation capabilities at depth, a mission specialist told the MBI the Titan's sonar range is limited to approximately 100 yards. At the ocean floor, this effectively means operating blindly until within that proximity to an object. Given the vastness of the search area, it's entirely possible to descend and completely miss the Titanic. During Dive 63, the electric motors controlling Titan's drop weight system failed, and the crew was unable to surface on schedule. The crew aboard the Titan attempted to repair the malfunction by rewiring the drop weight motor actuator, but their efforts were unsuccessful. The crew then tried to dislodge the weights from the tray by rocking the submersible, but this approach also failed. Unable to release the weights through either method, it became necessary to jettison the entire drop weight tray, which enabled the Titan to ascend to the surface. The failure of the drop weight system was classified by OceanGate as an incident following the dive, and a formal report was subsequently filed according to witnesses interviewed by the MBI. However, the MBI was not provided with a copy of the incident report during the investigation. Additionally, during the same dive, the Titan's aft port fairing was detached, the Blue View sonar system became inoperative, and the DVL experienced intermittent functionality. OceanGate's Director of Logistics, who also served as co-pilot of the Titan during Dive 63, made the following statement to the MBI. "Here's what I thought was what Stockton had described as the carbon fibre cracking as a slap of the ruler on the table, and I heard a sound related to that on one dive at depth, but that was the only one." On July 13th, Titan conducted a systems test dive, Dive 64, in Witless Bay, Newfoundland. The Titan's drop weights continued to experience deployment issues. The Titan's maintenance log for the dive included the following statement: "Drop weight motors would not drop weight motors running in reverse." On July 15th, Mission 2 was completed. Mission 2 included 2 dives, one to Titanic depth, which resulted in 1 incident report and 16 maintenance issues recorded in the maintenance log. On July 16th, Mission 3 commenced, and the OceanGate blog stated, "Although travel restrictions have imposed additional challenges to our crew, we are excited to celebrate the start of Mission 3, Titanic Survey Expedition 2021. Every mission begins with the signing and raising of a new OceanGate Expedition's flag. Mission 3 is now officially underway, and we look forward to much success. The Horizon Arctic is steaming towards the Titanic dive site coordinates, marking the official start of Mission 3. The OceanGate Expeditions team and the Horizon Arctic crew conduct pre-dive briefs for ship sub-integration. Both crews work in unison to ensure the expedition goals are achieved." On July 19th, during Dive 65, the Titan reached the Titanic wreck site with a crew of 5 that included Mr. Rush as a pilot, a co-pilot, a researcher from the University of Rhode Island, and 2 mission specialists. While in the vicinity of the Titanic wreck site, the Titan encountered another problem with its drop weight system, similar to Dive 63, which prevented the crew from releasing the drop weights. As an alternative, the crew attempted to thruster all the way to the surface. However, as the Titan began its ascent under thruster power from its depth of 3,300 meters at an ascent rate of 9 meters per minute, it rapidly consumed its battery power. According to communications from the ATM system, the Titan's crew inquired with their surface support team on the Horizon Arctic about the temperature at the Titanic wreck site, because they were contemplating the potential need to descend back to the ocean floor and remain there until Titan's squibs released the emergency drop weights. As previously described, the squibs were in place as a safeguard to release weights automatically after a dive duration of approximately 24 hours, in case of an emergency that prevented the use of Titan's primary drop weight systems. The mission director, who was overseeing Dive 65 from the Horizon Arctic, instructed the pilot, Mr. Rush, to return to the surface by dropping Titan's weight tray. However, Mr. Rush responded by asking for more time to consider the mission director's order. Mr. Rush was reluctant to release Titan's weight tray because there were no spare weight trays available, and doing so would prevent the Titan from conducting any additional dives for the remainder of the expedition. Instead, Mr. Rush remained persistent that he would rather wait for 24 hours for the sacrificial squibs to discharge the additional weight required to allow Titan to ascend slowly to the surface. The mission director for Dive 65 provided the following statement to the MBI. "The word I got from another crew member of the sub was that Stockton went around to each passenger or mission specialist and he said, 'Are you willing to stay down here for 24 hours? Because if you don't, the company's going out of business.' So he pressured those people to say yes. From first-hand information afterwards, the only person that said no was one of the co-pilots, and he basically texted up to us saying, 'You know, I'm done. Call my wife, tell her to get me a plane ticket. I'm saying, right, because when I get back up, I'm quitting.' After 3.5 hours of troubleshooting and redescending to the bottom, the crew aboard the Titan was able to manipulate the hydraulic pump for the drop weight tray just enough to release a portion of the tray's weights needed to resurface, without releasing the entire tray. The co-pilot who stated, 'Tell my wife what's going on tonight, buy me a plane ticket,' over Titan's ATM system, departed the expedition once the Horizon Arctic returned to St. John's, and the former co-pilot was never part of any other OceanGate dives. From July 24th to 28th, the Titan completed 3 dives, dives 66 through 68, to the depth of the Titanic. On dives 67 and 68, the LARS sustained damage while returning to the Horizon Arctic. On July 28th, Mission 4 was completed. Mission 4 included 4 dives, 3 to Titanic depth, which resulted in 2 incidents and 17 maintenance issues recorded in Titan's maintenance log. The Titan completed 2 additional Titanic dives on Mission 5. On August 6th, the OceanGate Titanic expedition of 2021 came to an end. During the expedition, the Titan made 10 dives with 6 reaching the Titanic wreck site. OceanGate recorded 0 acoustic incidents in their dive log over the 10 dives. During the 2021 expedition, OceanGate documented 72 issues in the maintenance log and recorded that the Titan experienced 6 incidents. The MBI was not provided with any of the 6 incident reports referenced in Titan's maintenance log from the expedition. Upon completion of the Titanic survey expedition, the Titan and LARS platform were demobilized off the Horizon Arctic, placed on the back of a flatbed truck, and transported back to the United States. Rather than returning the Titan directly back to their facility in Everett, OceanGate initiated a 7-month roadshow to visit educational institutions, country clubs, and adventure clubs to advertise Titan and help build future business. OceanGate's Director of Engineering at the time provided the following statement. "So they were going to bring the sub back in March, and we're going to have April, maybe March, I don't know, April, May, and we're going to be gone by June. So that gives us 8 weeks to fix the sub instead of the 9 months that we should probably have had." The Titan's roadshow visited sites throughout the US, including engagements at the University of Rhode Island in Kingston, the Princeton Club in Lake Forest, Illinois, and multiple other locations until February 2022.